trial and error. Maybe life is trial and error.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying this out. I also do want to do male roles in drama. So, and that's part of the reason was I was mixing things up, because once I established I could wear a dress, then people said, so that's just you, that's all you do? And I went, no, okay, I'm going to go back and reclaim boy. So I did that, and I'm reclaiming girl again. And then I'm going to reclaim boy, and I'm just going to keep doing it until I go, let him be whatever he wants to be. So that's where we are. That's my long answer to that question.
Gender fluid.
Yes, gender fluid. They used to say gender bending, which is a really nasty thing. I thought gender blending is much better.
Yeah.
And it's also the gift, because we know we're all, in the fetus, we're all girls until 12 weeks in. This is all biology. The penis and the clitoris are the same thing. The testes and the ovaries are the same thing. I don't know if you know about this. It's all in there. There's no reason for men to have nipples except they were supposed to be breasts. We're obsessed about the differences because we tend to be brought up girl or brought up boy. If we look at a tiger, we go, oh, what a dangerous tiger that probably is, but it looks quite nice at the moment. And we just don't go, girl, boy, girl. Like we look at cats and dogs, and we go, nice dog, nice cat. Girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. And you could say about your cat, you could say it's a girl cat. Oh, nice cat. Oh, she's a great cat. Oh, she is a great cat. Actually, it's a boy cat. Oh, is it a boy cat? He's a great cat. He's a great cat. No, it's actually a girl cat. Oh, it's a girl cat. You could do that for a year, unless they were picking the cat up and saying, I'm going to just check genitalia. People wouldn't bloody know. And I think cats and dogs probably look at humans and go, nice human, nice human. You go, nice human. Girl, boy, girl. I go, well, I don't know. No, you should know. Got a long hair. No, it could be hippie. That's true. Could be a rock and roll, you know. So that's it. We get obsessed about the genders, but if you take the whole theory of the universe thing into account, we shouldn't be, because we're just this organism, the humans. And if you take sexuality out of it, I think male puberty and female menopause could be the same thing. If you look at young boys and young girls, you can cross-dress young boys and young girls with impunity and no one will be able to tell the difference. Same with older men and older women, it gets easier to cross-dress. And there's a bit in the middle where everyone's crowbarring them apart because it's sexuality and talks about that. So that's an even longer answer to one question. Okay, is that the only question?
I think I got a short one. With you doing various shows in different languages, Spanish, Russian, and so on, how long does it generally take you to get the language down for an entire show? Is it, a period of months, something like that?
This is a very, very interesting question. It's got so radical. My brother Mark Izzard is the one who's the expert on languages. He's about 90% for French, German, Spanish. He's just learning Russian, and then once we get that going, he will learn Arabic and we'll get that one going. And we were both born in Yemen, and then it's got now to Spanish, which I know no Spanish. Instead of learning language first, and then trying to leap into improvising the show and trying to get a facsimile of that, I've worked out I can learn the show like a play. So I got the show into line by line. I've got it into a script. I never had it as a script. My brother translated it. I learned the show line by line. It takes me about a week to learn 15 minutes. So with 4 weeks, I can get an hour. So I can get an hour show up on its feet, which is tourable, in a month of hard work. And then I wouldn't be able to speak the language, but I could recite it like a play. And I'll know what every word means, and I'll know the comedy because it's my own comedy. And then what I'll do with Spanish is once I get that up and running, which I could do before I started a tour, I could just land and do Spanish. I'm not sure quite how. Anyway, this is. I keep changing the plans, so I think I might just spend a month because I need a month of clear work. So anyway, I'd land with the show, or I might land doing half in English and half in Spanish, which is more likely. So I get there and do first half English, second half Spanish. I could probably get half an hour going. And then what I'd do is I would learn Spanish from that point, and I'd go on a tour as long as I could, and I'd be everyone talking Spanish, and I'd tour in the Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, and Cuba. Cuba. And so I will learn it on the move. So it's a very weird, radical way of learning a language, but it means I can get the show up. So 2 weeks after I'd landed in Spain or a Spanish-speaking country, I think I could have a full hour going. The learning of it is quite intensive because you have to just hammer it into your head. Then the more you recite it, the more it becomes like a big long poem, like oral histories. You know that
right.
Humans have had oral histories down the years, and people from African American community back down the centuries into the unfortunate time of slavery. It was all history, the Native Americans, all this. So we have this facility, and I can. I once did a Marlowe play. I wanted to do Shakespeare, but I did a Marlowe play, and it was the one play that stayed in my head the longest was the poetry of Marlowe, whereas the normal lines just drop out of my head quite quickly. So.
I think an audience would appreciate that effort, especially, we're used to your comedy kind of being extreme consciousness, and you've got some structure to it, but, you can go off on a lot of different tangents, which is fun. But for a show like that, like you said, it's a lot more structured, so it's almost a whole different thing.
It will be, but within it, give me a bit, like in French, I will ad-lib. Right. In German, I ad-libbed a bit. After 2 months of doing German, I was doing a Fragen und Antwort section, which is question and answer, alles auf Deutsch, which is all in German. Which sounds like alles auf Deutsch. Sorry?
Sehr schön.
Sehr schön. It was sehr schön. And it's very, very difficult. And they would ask one question, they'd say, how long have you been learning German? And I would say, von 76 bis 78, which is 67 to 87. So I did 2 years from 76 to 78, 76, 78, which is 35 years ago. And then I did it from the 4th of January, and they were asking me this question in February, about February the 10th. They would be asking me this as I played through February. So it can come. You can get it. You can inhale a language. In deep emotion is the way to do it.
How's your Russian coming along?
My Russian is 0. Yeah. No, my brother's learning it. I am a da and spasiba and sorry? Do svidaniya. Yes, that is one I need to know. And there's Haveldinyak. Haveldinyak. Which means.
Why Haveldinyak?
Because I just liked it, and my tell them what it means.
Haveldinyak is
refrigerator.
It actually sounds a bit to us non-Russian speaking people. It sounds like Haveldinyak. And so Igor Besson, who is the Russian comedian who I've been performing with and played in Moscow with, and he said, "You're just going on about Haveldinyak all the time." And he loved the idea that I was going on saying refrigerator.
Yeah.
Refrigerator. Moskva. Haveldinyak. I would like to just, because it's perfectly my comedy to turn up and say refrigerator to people. One day we will all be. I will learn the Russian. One day we will all be. I think I could play it in such a way. I have learned words, and I could, like at the beginning of my thing, and I could say I have learned a word, and I want to say to you all. And I do it very right at the beginning of the show. And from my country to your country. One day I hope we will all be. What does it mean? Oh shit. No, that's not that'd be quite nice comedy too, just because it's sitting there begging to be used.
How do you work?
Can I just ask one? Do you think the Russian people will appreciate if I come in and do it in Russian?
Oh, I would hope so. I think they would.
I think they would, because obviously.
Be tailored to specific demographic, perhaps.
Well, no,
specific spots.
Well, I've already done. Sorry, I've already done this show in English in Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
So they were groovy. It's 1,000 people in St. Petersburg, 1,500 in Moscow. So they were already groovy with it. So I won't change it at all. It'll be just like this. And nothing is anti-Russian. It's all positive.
Do you want to expand it to other cities? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to play the whole. I'm going to learn Russian. Then we're going to tour the whole thing. The whole thing. So yeah, well, and I will be boy mode, girl mode, boy mode. And some people might go, "Hey, this is wrong," but I will just push through.
They need to be confused and pushed.
Yes, no, I know, because we had, I was saying, they were saying, what about the anti-LGBT rules?
Oh,
but
right,
then
right.
Margaret Thatcher had anti-LGBT rules in Britain in the 80s. So, and then they were repealed, and we moved on. So it's what happens in the world. Sorry.
That's okay. How do you and your brother manage to translate culturally
There's no cultural difference because we're playing to us people. It's us people in Moscow. It's us people in Istanbul. You see, we're all around the world. So there's probably 1 billion of us. Out of the 7 billion, there's probably 1 billion people who are like us. Because now I don't know where you are with gods, but if you look on the Wikipedia, it comes up with 1 billion people who are agnostic, I think, or just because I'm a spiritual atheist. I believe in us. We get stuff done. first God that comes down, I'll be happy to believe it, unless he's a dickhead. Just one person, and any God worth their salt would go, hang on, if I just turn up, they'll all come to church, wouldn't they? And we would, and even if we'd immediately do it. As soon as someone came down in a bunch of clouds and say, it was me, I was away, I was on holiday for 10,000 years, and that would explain it, wouldn't it? Because I've got a long clock thing, and the last 10,000 years I've been in Alpha Beta, I was in another galaxy. Oh, right, okay. And he comes down, he's got some angels, the guy's playing lutes, and we say, so what happened? He says, well, I just wasn't paying attention. Anyway, how'd it go? Well, it was rubbish. Some good stuff, and then we'd all go to church. It's all, because there's an idea that, I was trying to articulate, that believing in a thing that you can't see is really good, and I don't think that is necessarily good. I think believing in something that's positive is really good, but a thing you can't see that sometimes goes Spanish Inquisition and sometimes goes Sermon on the Mount, then I'll pick and choose my bits, and also has slavery in them. So this is my thought. But one guy, if you come down, he, she, it, whatever you are, then fine, I'll go for it. Till then, I'm going to believe in us, because we're here. We do. We turn up when there's a disaster. Sorry?
How do you think that'll play in England when you're going into politics, right?
Yeah, which thing? How my beliefs, or?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't. Europe is just so. You can't say God bless United Kingdom. It won't work. You would not get elected if you said it. Tony Blair became more religious when he left politics. If no one says God bless Britain, God bless France, God bless them, we just don't mention the guy because he didn't bless us in the Second World War, so we just said, let's leave him to one side. If he turns up, all bets are off.
You can say God save the Queen.
So is that more just like a monarchy?
Well, they say God save the Queen, but in a prayer-like way. God save, they're not actually going God save the Queen. I've been to that.
God,
And also, it's an American hymn.
Yeah.
It's an American thing. Oh, my country, 'tis a thing. That's what they're actually saying. That's what they want to say.
Are you doing a Reason rally again in 2016?
I don't know. They invited me, so they might not invite me or whatever. It's all timing and things and whatever.
She
But
wants you. I know
sorry?
Sarah Moorhead, the president,
Oh
wants
right.
you.
Okay. Well, I am. I'm into people having reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just did a chunk of my stand-up last time. But
So
yeah.
did you enjoy doing Narnia?
Yes, in a way, but Reaper Cheap is tricky to do. I mean, I did love the Narnia books. I read those, and my brother got the Lord of the Rings books, and Lord of the Ring book, and The Hobbit. And so he had that bit, and they had different maps. And but Reaper Cheap is tricky to do. He's actually tricky to learn because he is a courtly mouse. So I see that C.S. Lewis has put that into it, but he is so verbose, his verbosity doesn't actually sit easy. What you really wanted was someone to be that courtly, that gentlemanly, would be a savage killer who is that, which he was, but he was a mouse, so he never got that scared of a mouse. He was actually a murderous mouse, but a murderous mouse it doesn't quite fit right. So it's a tricky thing to do.
He's so cute.
So, but I just, yeah, I like the books. I like books. Yeah.
So your history, there's so much history that you just throw at us, and I can't like process as fast because I didn't do well in school. But I love fashion history, and I wonder if there's like a fashion history gig in your head that just
No, I'm intimidated by fashion. You see, my journey in fashion has really been. I just wore clothes, and then in my teenage years, I thought, well, this isn't really working, so. It doesn't really matter what clothes I have. I just didn't think they made any difference.
Right.
Just some people are pretty, and then there's a lot of us who have different looks, and that's it. Just stuff for life. And
yeah.
So I just wore any clothes that were coming along. And then I came out, and I looked a bit of a mess when I was 23, 30 years ago. And then I sort of put that back in the bag, and I still carried on wearing just whatever clothes I had, and I was becoming a street performer. Then I got to stand up, it took off. then I told the press that I was a transvestite, and then I started wearing a dress, and then they said, okay, you are a transvestite, but you look a mess. And I thought, then I had to stop catching up quick.
Did you get like a stylist and have them help you along?
No,
no.
my partner Sarah Townsend, who designed all this and directed the show, and she did the Believe documentary. She would say, oh, no, and this, that's not going to work. And gradually I developed a sense of it, but I had to train myself into it. So I'm still somewhat intimidated by fashion, yeah, it's not a place whereas history, I sort of grab hold of it.
Yeah.
I know how this works. I think, well, I feel I know how this goes to that, and that goes to that. If you look at that, and if you look back at Caesar, isn't Caesar, because he went into Gaul, and then if one tribe disagreed with him, he'd murder the entire thing. Isn't that exactly what the Nazis did? That just seems that they just took that from there, and the Romans, they had all these things with the eagles, and the Nazis stole that as well. And then Napoleon stole a bit of that, but not as much. He didn't hate as much. He was just a megalomaniac. So I look for that.
Right.
So that's the thing I'm encyclopedic on, or constantly trawling my brain through. Whereas fashion, if I get something working, I go, oh, I think that works. But then I can still, there's Rachel, who's my makeup artist backstage, and a very good eye. She's an artist, and she goes, no, that's not good. I just bought a big floppy hat. She said, no, that's not working. I think it does work. No, it does work.
It's always just been a really fun form of comedy.
Sorry?
It's always just been a really fun form of comedy for a lot of us, I think.
Well, it's fun for me. I'm just trying to make myself laugh. I am just trying to make myself laugh. That's my thing. Yeah.
So I don't have a question, but I want to tell you a story that I teach French.
Right.
And I teach French in Southern Oregon, where it's very provincial, very rural,
Right.
and very Christian. And so once I found out that you spoke French and some of your clips with the French, I took your piece on the prepositions, and I showed them to my students.
Right.
But I forgot how much you use the word fuck. Which is French in origin. So
Was I swearing in the French one? Was that
yes, yes,
just,
yes.
just the circle?
Yeah. All of it, about la tante and
Yeah.
sur la branche.
Oh, all that bit, yes.
Like, to learn the prepositions. I'm like, watch him. He's doing the prepositions, but they were shocked by your mouth. So then in other years I had to go, listen, this is really good, and you'll learn your prepositions, but he's got a filthy mouth. Without furthering education.
It's well-rounded.
Well, they'll find if they go to France that people swear in France.
We need those words too.
But it's funny. Well, if you swear in a country, if you go to France, if I say F word in France on telly, they just don't care. You say it as many times as you want. And their words over here. It's funny how. And they're just words. Lenny Bruce said this. They're just words. We give them the power.
Yeah.
He did that about racial slurs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he said if we just say it a million times, it loses its power. There was someone had a question. Yeah.
Kind of going off the Avengers thing and into the Avengers, how was it working with John Connery with the time?
How was it working with those two? Great. Yes, and Uma Thurman as well. That was fun. That was an early one for me, so it wasn't. I could do that role better now. But it was fun working with Sean and working with Sean. Yes, well, no, you would think it would be, but the actuality of doing it was only about my third film. Was not intimidating. He's very chatty, and he would sit down in the makeup truck and say, "Sure, I was filming The Man Who Would Be King." Afghanistan. And so he'd just go off and start telling stories. And everyone would shut up and just listen. Sean's telling a story. Sean's telling a Hollywood story. It's just, you just wanted to hear this stuff. That's that's one of the big secondary reasons to get into films. Is so people can tell you film stories. I was up a mountain filming Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich, and a friend of mine, another actor in it called Ronan Vibert, who played the cameraman. And we were sitting there, it was raining, I'm in a little tent, and it's right up on a high hill in a castle, on the top of the castle. And we're just in the tent, getting away from the rain. And so I said, what did your parents say when you wanted to act? And they all went through and said it. So I had these intimate details of that. can't remember a bloody thing of what anyone said. But it was just great. I thought, this is great. I'm in a tent on top of a castle in Luxembourg, and there's Malkovich and Will Dafoe just telling me about what their parents said. I think all our parents were going, yeah, not going to work. You should be a shoemaker or something. Yeah.
The W. No, sorry.
Sorry, I'll take this gentleman's and then I'll take yours.
I was just wondering your major things you want to accomplish if you get elected to the mayor one.
Well, I'm not approaching it that way. People say, now, what is your first thing you're going to do on day one? You know, I don't see that. I'm going to study everything going up. Housing and affordable public transport are the big things on Londoners' minds. This is just documented. So that's the main area that we'll be heading into, even though I don't have much control over housing, but you would be in control of transport. I would take all the energy that I put into everything and put it into that. I want an inclusionist London, a London that's thinking out of the box, doing things business savvy, good, positive for business, safety net for people having a tough time, which I'm not in control of, but I can encourage these things, and I can just go out and do that and try and link up with other major cities around the world, other capital cities around the world, look to be inclusionist, internationalist. I'll just try and do that. I'll try and take everything, because everything I've set up so far is not part of a thing. You know, if you get a TV series, then that TV series has a momentum, there's people setting it up, and there's a broadcast. To do stand-up in America, there's very few of us Brits, even now, come over here and do this. I had to I insisted on going to New York. I worked out New York was the place, broke out from there. Dressed to Kill really helped with it once HBO picked it up, but then I've still hammered on without that really since then. And Hollywood Bowl twice now, and no other stamps doing it. And then Madison Square Garden, I was about the fourth person in there. Touring France, touring Germany, so I can set up things that people say, this will not be done. In France, they said, it's not going to happen. They're still saying it's not going to happen. I can't get back into Caen. I played Caen in 3 languages in 3 hours, 3 different versions of this show on D-Day last year, and they for some reason the venue won't let me come back. And they're a music venue, so maybe they just did a special thing, and they just, I don't know. I need to get to the bottom of why they're not. But there's also a cinema that's got a little venue, but they don't actually have. All the cities don't. There's so many. It's so big, France, compared to Britain, and they won't actually let me come and play there. So I think I've got to prove it until they say, oh, we're going to solve a bunch of things. I don't know what it is, but I'll just keep hammering my way in. So that's the technique, or the style, or the energy that I will take into politics.
So he has 5 more years left.
Sorry, yes, 5 more years.
The devil you know. Talked to James Marsters last week. He said he still hadn't heard anything. He's growing his hair out and everything.
Yes.
Hoping. I was just wondering if you had any more word, any more indication.
The word is positive,
but
not a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Not a lot. We've just got to. We'll know probably midway through next month.
Exciting. Cool.
But yeah, I would love to do it, and Genji wants to do it, and I think HBO are keen, but they just want a certain adjustment, certain things to be right in their mind, and yeah, we will see. But we always have to have a plan B and a plan C.
Yeah.
What are the chances that we're going to see you as the doctor?
Sorry.
What are the chances that we're going to see you as the doctor next year? Very ginger fluid.
Well, Tom Baker put me forward as the thing. I think Tom Baker's fantastic. It'd be nice to meet Tom Baker at some point. And he put me forward, I think, because me being trans person, and that would be perfect for the doctor.
Yeah,
but it's also, if you go into doctor, you get so much doctor baggage that when you come out of it, I've noticed people's careers go a bit, and you've got to goose them back up. I would have liked to have played Doctor Who. I might later, because I'm going to go into politics. I'm going to come out of politics as well. I'm coming back.
Yay!
So it's just, I'm just going in for a period of time. But at this moment, I'm not planning. I'm not pushing to it, and they don't seem to be trying to drag me into it. And we've just got a new fantastic actor. Peter Capaldi's great. So I'm very pleased with Peter Capaldi ever since local hero film I love, and he's taken himself from that role and into great gravitas, and yeah. So anyway, it's great that it exists. Russell T Davies, what he's done with it, Stephen Moffat's done with it. Yeah, I'm happy to come and play, but meanwhile I'll just go and play in Dr. Abel Gideon's and hopefully in The Devil You Know and all the other things. And I have films I have to write, which I have to get made before time goes out. Yeah, I'm gonna go follow just because I've taken my. Yes.
I was pretty inspired by the run that you did around England. You did
Around the UK, yeah.
Charity, yeah. And I was wondering if, well, I was wondering if you run every day, and then I was also wondering if you have any other big events like that planned as well.
I do. I've got to go back to South Africa and run 27 in 27 days, but I tend to run or swim or not do anything. Because there is a problem of overtraining. And I might be overtraining in my life. You need to get the balance right. But yeah. Oh God, I've got to stop there. This I take that as the last question. I'm sorry. Unless you have one more question.
I was revisiting the riches.
Oh, revisiting the riches. What was your question?
I just had a question about, were you here today? Did you do anything in Portland? Or are you going to do something in Portland?
Yeah, I had that nail remended. And had breakfast at some really nice place. You don't know what it's called, breakfast.
Yay!
Yes, they were very nice. So, yeah, so that's what it is.
Did you get your donuts?
I can't do donuts. I don't do any refined sugar since March of last 2013. Yeah, it's refined sugar is the devil. Not everybody. Some body types can process it, but if you ever find yourself just getting bigger as you get older, and I cut out bread, pasta, pizza, and all the desserts, and you don't crave it after 2 or 3 weeks, and then you end up with that, which is, and the marathons didn't do it for me. I thought I was going to just be whipping thin at the end of the marathons. It seems to be refined sugar, is the devil, which we didn't have until the 1600s, until you found it here. So,
And thank you for everything you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.